Well, folks, one more time tonight here on the LA Sparks 365 Network. We ran a bit late there with our last show because we were in a hangout still, technically with Shuri Mama 24 on Twitter, folks. So we kind of went a bit long there, folks, and sucked up a time for Sparks fans. So we're going to move on, folks, to the two-man show of record that is called The Guys with the Petition. Good evening, folks. Welcome back here to Studio 171 in San Diego and the 800 Studios up in Anaheim, California. Cal McClurg and Chris Manson joining you folks here. And Chris, here we are. 10 days away, man, from the start of a 2014 WNBA season. But tonight, man, we actually talk about the network tonight. We're adding in, again, man, 4 new shows to the network. 3 debut on Friday the 16th, 1 debuts on Sunday. Chris, how excited are you, man, about the expansion of the network to adding in more programming?
Just so freaking excited.
I mean, Chris, we talk a lot here on the Petition show, Chris, specifically about the petition, but tonight, man, we actually talk something other than the petition for once here in a while here on the show here on the LA Sparks 365 Network here, folks. By the way, you guys can get involved with us here on the during the show, folks, by tweeting to us with the hashtag TGWTP. The hashtag again is TGWTP, and follow us on Twitter, folks, at LA Sparks 365 on Twitter. So, Chris, we had our little off-the-air hangout last night because we know about what happened last night with the YouTube servers last night. They're kind of being idiots last night because they were screwing up and they had some server problems last night. Chris, we technically took the night off because we couldn't resolve the issues last night at this point in time. But anyway, man, we had our little off-air FaceTime meeting last night, Chris. And I believe, man, we came up with 4 great shows to debut here on the network, man. Before we get to them, man, kind of talk about the ideas we kind of came up with from what you can recall last night, at least from our closed-door meeting.
I forgot.
It's a lot, man, but we'll get to it anyway. So again, folks, the deal here, folks, again, we are adding in 4 brand new shows here to the LA Sparks 365 Network here, folks, to coincide, folks, with our regular 3 shows you've seen lately, which is Sparks 365, Sparks Fame, and the Guys with the Petition, folks. But we're adding in 4 new ones. 3 of them debut, Chris, on May 16th, which is the Sparks' first game of the year, Chris. We talked about the first one. We'll talk about it again here. But again, Chris, be sure you guys join our panel of 365 correspondents for a half hour of roundtable discussion, news, debate, game previews, Twitter fan polls, and much more on our roundtable discussion show that is named in honor of the first arena that the Sparks played in, Chris, again, which is the Fabulous Form, debuting after 365 postgame on May 16th here on the network, Chris. So again, Chris, your thoughts here about the Fabulous Form, our new roundtable forum show that's going to be, 4 or 5 people that we can get in here from our fam on Twitter, at least to join in, Chris. And again, hey, you got roundtable discussion, you've got hot news of the day, you've got debate, you've got controversy, game previews, getting social with the fans on Twitter, Chris, and much more. So again, I mean, what do you make about the Fabulous Form debuting on May 16th?
Just love it. Idea.
And for what reasons?
Because it's where the Sparks play their first game ever at the Forum, and just an awesome name and everything.
So again, folks, the Fabulous Forum, again, which will feature roundtable discussion, news of the day, debate, game previews, Twitter fan polls, and much more, will be, again, following the post-game show. I want to say we'll check our schedule, though, folks. We have slated for May 16th, but again, we'll tweet that out to you folks, again, which is at LA Sparks 365. Then, Chris, the next show we're going to talk about here, man, is actually going to be one of my personal favorites. Did you guys miss a part of the game? Well, no problem. You guys can get caught up to date with what you may have missed from the game during our compacted game recap show, which will be called Buzzer Beater LA. It'll bring you up to speed with the game recap, big play turning points, and we also, folks, name players of the game and much more. Chris, this is a show, man, that I think will be a quick hit because, we'll have our post-game show for half an hour, man. But then if people miss the post-game show and they don't want to go back and rewatch it, Chris, they have another outlet here. But this is, Chris, basically the whole game packed into half an hour. All the stats, the game summary, a recap, stuff like that, man. So, Buzzer Beater LA, man. What do you think of this one?
It's an awesome idea. if they miss the game, they can watch the show and hear all the stats and all compact in 30 minutes or whatever.
Chris, specifically, this is made though, Chris, for people that missed the whole game and then couldn't get to the channel in time to watch the post game show, and they got stuck watching the forum. Is we're gonna come back, folks. What's gonna happen here is we're gonna have our post game show, and then we have a show following that. Then if you guys missed the post game, and you guys can instantly watch Buzzer Beater LA. It's gonna be right after the show sandwich between that one, and we'll get you guys caught up to date with everything. A game recap, the stats, all the big plays, the news from that game, any injury news. So everything you guys need to know about the game, we'll be following a show slated between the post-game show and the end of the game. So again, Buzzer Beater LA will debut. Then again, Chris, as well. Chris, this is what we say a lot here. Is this is a male broadcast team, man, but this is a WNBA network that we have had a W on the show, Chris. But we needed a show, man, specifically for the rest of the league, Chris. So we did, Chris, decide to dedicate an entire show to the WNBA. The W will feature, Chris, whip-around coverage of every game happening throughout the league, including game previews, recaps, news of the day, and much more, Chris. The W debuting May 16th, man. Probably, Chris, will follow the post-game show right now until we work out scheduling for either before the pre-game show or after the game. But again, Chris, you got to do it. I mean, we can't just be all Sparks there, man. We're going to do everything, Chris. So again, the W debuts. And I kind of like the format, though, Chris, how it's going to be, we're going to go from one game to another game to another game, back to another game, Chris. So we're going to be basically, Chris, whipping people around from game to game, man. So that's going to be the best part of the whole thing is we're just going to go from the Tulsa game to the Phoenix game to the Connecticut game to the New York game, Chris. We're just going to be, whipping people around from game to game so they get caught up in what's going on across the entire rest of the WNBA.
Yep, agree.
So again, folks, the W debuts May 16th as well. Again, we will have complete coverage of every game. We'll bring you guys game previews, recaps, news of the day, and much more. Again, the W debuting May 16th. And again, of course, Chris, we had to work out a deal with the Calimac 94 YouTube channel, Chris, to work out a deal to pull this show off of its networking block, which, of course, Chris, is the brand new original series behind the scenes that we call Press Pass Sparks. So, folks, what's going to happen here on the show, it's just like, well, a little bit of a half-ass knockoff of Backstage Sparks. But, Chris, we're doing it, man. Whenever we go to games, Chris, we will have a Press Pass show for everybody. We're going to be recording it via cellular devices, folks. It's not going to be a pro-done product here. So it's going to be that way done. It's going to be tape delayed and then posted on the network. But, again, Chris, I've done Press Pass with the Soccers, man. I mean, it's just a lot of fun because you can record stuff that goes on backstage at Soccers games. But here, Chris, it's going to be more so the road trip gimmicks. That's going to be involving you, myself, and more than likely Christian Enciso and his cousin. Our karaoke up to LA and taking our road trip up there. Goofing off at Star Plaza entrance. Everything that we do, Chris, is going to be chronicled in this series, man. I mean, I've done it numerous times, man. It's so fun to do. It's a quick hit, man. So this is going to be a fun show that we debut on May 18th at Staples Center.
Yep.
So again, folks, the brand new original documentary series, Press Pass Sparks, will chronicle, folks, the events of games that we go to specifically, folks. So this is also, Chris, this is not just going to be a documentary, Chris. This is also going to be our remote broadcast. So we'll do a little small thing, depending, Chris, on battery power on this bad boy over here, my iPhone. But Chris, it's going to be that way. It's going to be all the gimmicks, Chris, that we do before the game, on the road trip up to LA, playing the Red Hot Chili Peppers or Tool or Muse or Eric Church or whatever, Chris. So it's gonna be all the gimmicks, the karaoke, all the bloopers, basically, Chris, of the road trip to LA, the stuff at the arena we're gonna do, and then the game action. But also, Chris, as well, we'll do a small little thing beforehand, a little pregame show, I guess, Chris. But again, Press Pass Sparks, man, debuts, Chris, on May 18th, Chris. So, Chris, out of those 4 shows, which one are you most excited to be doing sometime this season? You can't say all the above, Chris. You got to pick one of them.
Between the round table and also that press pass Sparks.
Chris, you know, I think the round table is going to be one of my favorites. If I had to pick one favorite, Chris, I'm going with Chris with the W and press pass, because press pass I've done numerous times, man, with the Sockers. You know, backstage here at the Sports Lounge, I've done that numerous times here at in studio. Chris, I say the W though, man, because this is going to be a fun show. Because Chris, we can basically, Chris, you know, go from the Sparks game, you know, covering the Sparks game, Chris, to say, okay, we got an update here from Phoenix. Let's go to Phoenix, you know, or we can go to Seattle. So, Chris, it's going to be kind of like MLB Network's MLB Tonight, Chris, or NBA Coast to Coast, basically, Chris. We're going to go from one game to another and update people what's going on. So, you know, I'm actually, Chris, more ready and excited, Chris, for the W, because Chris, we can just easily, I could be talking, Chris, about the Phoenix Mercury game, Chris, and you can say, well, hang on, man, I got an update from Seattle, or I got an update from Tulsa. I mean, because Chris, you know, that's the best part I think about that show is we can go, Chris, so many directions. We can go from the Sparks game to, okay, we got some going on at, you know, in Minneapolis, or, you know, with the Fever. So I mean, Chris, you know, in my view, the W and press pass, man. Chris, I mean, you said the Forum and press pass. Okay, out of the 3 shows debuting on the 16th, which would be the Forum, Buzzer Beater, and the W, which one are you most excited about doing?
The W.
You know, Chris, I think the W might trump Sparks Fam as being the #1 best show on the network, I think, because I'll say it again, man, but we can just, because again, man, we can go so many different directions. Folks, real quick here, I'll say this real quick. If you remember back in May of 2012, when I was doing the Sports Lounge Live on Blog TV, I had 3 random guys, I had no clue who they were, in my chat box, which was Chris, and then 2 other gentlemen that were basically sending me scores and updates in the chat bar of what was going on across baseball. So I thought, that is where I'm going to get an idea for a show sometime soon. So Chris, you actually played a part, man, in establishing the W on our network 2 years ago when we were just barely talking to each other, and you and 2 other people, man, that were giving me scores gave me the idea to do a show like that, of going from one game to another, man. So you know what? Give yourself, man, a round of applause for helping out, lay out the groundwork for a show here on the network. And he's speechless. So, well, okay, folks. But yes, that really did happen. But again, folks, 4 new shows debut on the Sparks 365 network. The Fab Forum, Buzzer Beater LA, the W, all debut on May 16th, and of course, Press Pass Sparks on May 18th at 6 p.m. or earlier in the day at least on the Sparks 365 network. Chris, I'm going to go back to Press Pass real quick before we go back and talk about the other shows. We're going to go in reverse here. But again, Chris, with Press Pass, it's something that I've told Christian and CISO, Chris, numerous times that I've wanted to do something like this. And I've done it with the Sockers for 2 seasons. Going on our 3rd season this year, Chris, I've done it, but I haven't posted because I haven't had time to post the videos on YouTube or whatever happened, man. But this is something, Chris, that I really have wanted to do because this basically chronicles what goes on during the course of the day backstage at Sockers games, Chris. So I'm gonna probably, Chris, do it again on the Mag 94 channel, Chris. But in our case, Chris, on the network here, it's what's gonna happen beforehand on our road trips up to LA. Again, because I already have had permission from Christian Cecil, Chris, to take over the sound system on the trip up to LA from when we do get you on May 25th at 12 for the game against the Stars. And it's either going to be Chris posting, doing the actual video, or what I'm going to do as well, Chris, is going to post some Insta-vids on my IG account as well, so people can see what's going on. Because he's already said we're doing karaoke, we're going to be doing random nonsense, we're going to be eating food and all that other stuff, Chris. So Chris, you got the way up, which is, DJ McClurg over here basically spinning the tunes of rock and roll music. You've got food, you've got bloopers, you got a bunch of other things going on. Then you got Staples Center, Chris. You got us, of course, hanging out at the Star Plaza entryway, walking downtown Los Angeles. We'll do some stuff inside, but then, Chris, once you get inside, though, man, we're going to do a small little pregame show, perhaps, depending on the life of our devices. But again, man, this is going to be a fun, it's going to be a fun road trip on May 18th when I go to the game. Because I don't know if I'm going to do it with my dad because I don't know if he's going to let me do it, but I might sneak it in somehow, Chris, either taking photos or shooting some videos perhaps. What I am thinking about, Chris, is doing a video for Press Pass at the Chick Hearn statue, like I'm calling the game with Chick, something like that. So I'm thinking about doing that. But, Chris, it's more so about what's going to happen, though, on our road trips up to Staples Center, man. Are you excited or are you more nervous about doing Press Pass because we're doing karaoke on our way up to Los Angeles?
No, I'm not nervous because just so freaking excited.
Chris, it's going to be chaos, folks. If you want a chaotic scene, folks, go back and watch the 10-part YouTube series that I conducted with Christian and Ciso on April 21st of last year after we'd gone to see the Galaxy play, folks, how we did a 10-part YouTube series of complete random nonsense. That, folks, is what Press Pass will be. About a 10-part series compacted into iMovie and posted on the Sparks Network page. And it's going to be everything. The karaoke, the food, Star Plaza, inside the arena, blooper reels, a bunch of nonsense. Chris, I'm ready for May 18th, but I'm more ready, Chris, when we go May 25th. And I'm going to probably call in Ciso after the show here to say, are we going yet? Because what Mancy's losing his MFing mind right now about going to a game sometime soon. But Chris, are you nervous? Are you pumped? Are you a little kind of shy because we're going to be doing karaoke and we're going to be, breaking up the dance moves and stuff like that, and the lust for life and the trumpet dance, man? You ready for this crap, man, or what?
Yeah, I'm ready for this crap because my first Sparks game, I'm doing this. I'm going to meet Lindsey Harding and all this stuff.
So be ready, folks. Also, real quick, go check out the two videos I posted before Sports Lunch, folks. We had it going. We had Lust for Life by Iggy Pop. We had the Trumpet Dance by Muse going as well. So all that, folks, all the gimmicks, all the dance moves, everything going on, folks. All that is Press Pass Sparks coming away May 18th on the Sparks 365 network. Chris, we're going to go back and revisit the W one more time again, Chris. Live whip-around coverage here of every game going on. Again, we're going to have scores from every game, game previews and recaps, news of the day, much more. Again, Chris, this is a show, again, man, that I really wanted to do along with Press Pass, man, because, I think it's important, Chris, that networks, whether it's on television or on YouTube, man, provide coverage, though, man, of the rest of the sport. Because, like we said, man, because we can go from covering the game in Seattle, Chris, and hell, you may say, okay, but Callan, hang on a second here, man. Let me put you on mute real quick because I got an update here from the Fever game in Washington. Because, again, Chris, this is a WNBA network we're talking about here, man. So, I'm actually, man, really excited about the W debuting on May 16th because again, man, we'll be able to go from the Sparks game. Then you can say, well, hang on, let me put this guy on mute because I got something better to talk about here from the Tulsa Shock game against the Stars. So, are you ready for this one? Because this is going to be it's going to be a fun show, Chris, but it's also going to be very, very fast-paced, too, because we're just going to be going from game to game and keeping everyone in the loop of what's going on across the WNBA.
Yeah, just so pumped for that.
It's going to be fun. Because, like we said, though, man, as we said again, folks, you know that I've had to put Chris on mute a few times here on the network because of stuff that's happened at his house or he was interrupting me during Sparks Fam. But that can happen because, folks, honestly, I could be talking about one game and Chris can utilize the mute button feature and do this real quick. So Chris could actually do that, folks, and put me on mute and say, well, hang on, man, I'm going to mute you real quick because I got something better to talk about. I see that Skylar Ding just made free throws to beat the Stars 76-75. So, again, folks, that is what you're going to get, folks, on the W, is you can talk about one game, but we got something else going on somewhere else. So, again, Chris, break out the mute button, man. I know you like doing it to me a lot, and it kind of upsets me sometimes because I'm not doing anything to offend you or anything like that. But, hey, this time, man, you can use it for real because I can be talking about the Sparks game, man, but you can hit the mute button and say, well, hang on, I got something better going on up in Seattle. What do you think?
Yeah, just so pumped to do that.
So, again, folks, the W. Whip around coach, folks, of every game going on. and the WNBA debuting on May 16th. So again, Chris, the other show again here as well is the new one again, which is basically, Chris, our compacted game, Chris, again, which is going to be the half-an-hour buzzer beater LA, Chris, again, which will be more so, Chris, for the people that may have missed the game, and then, Chris, missed our post-game show, either live or taped or recorded and then put on the channel, Chris. So again, Chris, basically we're going to be doing, the game recap, the game summary, the stats, the game leaders, all the things, Chris, you do in a regular post-game show. But it's just going to be basically in a half an hour, basically, Chris, of just the game in general, not about other things going on, Chris. So again, man, specifically compact. So again, Chris, everything that goes on in the game, compacted down to the size of a ball, 30 minutes long. News, stats, game summaries, game recaps, big plays, the turning point of the game, and other things included, man. So I mean, the Buzzer Beater show, Chris, is going to be a good one, especially again, Chris, we talk about people that missed the post-game show and have to wait around and wait for us to do another show, then they can get caught up with the game, get caught up again with the show, or the game at least. So, thoughts about Buzzer Beater?
Yeah, just an awesome show. If they miss the show, they could watch our Buzzer Beater and get caught up on the game that they missed.
So again, folks, Buzzer Beater LA will provide everything you guys need, again, which will include everything. Again, Buzzer Beater LA will feature game recaps, big plays, turning points, player of the game nominees, statistical breakdowns, and also big play breakdowns, and also in-game breakdowns as well. Then, of course, Chris, we go back to the top, and the panel discussion show, Chris, again, which is the Fab Forum, again, which is roundtable discussion, news, debate, controversy, game previews, Twitter fan polls, and much, much more. Again, Chris, I was sitting around last night when I was thinking about the shows yesterday morning, and I thought, well, the roundtable is good, but we need a better name. I thought about Showtime Sparks, but then I said, wait a second. The Sparks played at the Forum in Inglewood, and a roundtable discussion is basically a free-flowing open forum. Just use the forum as the name, and just put Fabulous in there. So again, Chris, I know you're ready for this one because we're gonna have at least try to have Chris, 4 to 5 people have an actual discussion here. So again, man, what do you think about the Fab Forum?
Just awesome show.
Yeah, I think it's just awesome in general. That we're going to be able to, at least, Chris, work in getting some more people. We know about either Lex and or Tanisha Hardy. Chris may have some problems early in the season because of school commitments from May till June. We know that Sherry Mama's going to be available, Chris, but we're going to work in, Chris. Working on, Chris, I'm going to work on, Chris, sometime soon, of a show for the fans. That if fans that are out there that, that want to talk about the team but can't do so in a way, I'm going to come up, Chris, with some idea during our off-air hangout with Shorty to come up, man, with a way where the fans can get involved too, live in the hangout in some fashion. We know about what the Lakers do, Chris, with Planet Lakers. We'll think of something like that sometime soon, or after the show ends tonight here. But again, man, out of those 4, man, Press Pass, the W, the Buzzer Beater, and the Fab Forum. Again, man, which one are you most hyped to do during the season?
The W.
And here I thought you'd say Press Pass because of what we talked about and laughed at for the past.
That one too.
Hey. What?
That one too. The Press Pass.
So, folks, we agree mutually here that we think the W and Press Pass Sparks will be our favorites here, folks. But, folks, weigh in here on our first Twitter fan poll. Out of the 4 new shows we're debuting, which ones are you guys most excited to see? We'll post the question to you, folks, when we get off the air here. So, again, folks, you guys can tweet into the show at LASparks365 with the hashtag TGWTP and let us know what your favorite show on the network will be when we do expand it coming up on May 16th. So, again, Chris, here we are 10 days away from the start of the season. And, Chris, we've got 4 days until the first preseason game starts, 12 days from the Sparks season opener at home. How pumped are you, man, on a scale of 1 to 100?
100. I'm so freaking pumped, and I freaking mean it. Probably either. No, I'm not gonna do it this Saturday. And I mean it this time because last time I didn't. But May 16, the season over. I'm vlogging, and this time I mean it.
Chris, I have to take a page out of Candace Wiggins' playbook here. Her favorite artist is Tupac, the legendary hip hop artist that was killed in Vegas, drive-by shooting action, gang relation, and stuff like that. But I got to take a page, Chris, out of Pac's book and say, like he does in his great song, Chris, California Love, which we have seen mixed to Sparks highlights. Chris, that will be a song played during our road trip to Los Angeles, so get the pipes warmed up to get your hip-hop persona on. But Chris, like they say though in there, they talk about Chris, ironically, man, they talk about earthquakes. I break the scale. I break the scale, Chris. I am past 100% ready. I'm more like Chris, maybe 1,994% breaking the scale. I am that excited, man, for the season. Because again, Chris, we talk about a lot here on the show. Again, the off season that could have been. Sparks out of Los Angeles, Sparks in LA, Sparks in the Bay Area, Sparks folded, and the WNBA demising.
Yep, agreed. But then two guys, which is us, created a petition, and there goes Colin doing the trumpet dance, and we did that petition, launched it, and we're staying in LA.
And I think Chris probably gets the pun I used there of 1,994% ready to go, folks. In case you don't know, that's my birth year, 20 years to the day when I was born. So again, folks, 1,994. I'm ready to go here. Again, Chris, it's funny, man. It's funny. I have the list of the shows here in front of me on my notepad and schedule for the network. And every time I look down at that fourth show, Chris, I laugh because of what we have talked about here for Press Pass Sparks, which again, folks, will debut on May dinner. Because, Chris, of what we had just talked about and what I had just done, because you didn't see me doing it because the arrow was on you. But again, folks, get ready for it. My dance moves, folks, are not even close to that of Stephanie Dulce, folks. But I'm breaking out Lust for Life. I'm breaking out Trumpet Dance. I know Chris will be doing it too. So again, folks, all the gimmicks you're going to see, folks, like you just saw with Lust for Life and Trumpet Dance, May 25th, at least for us, will be happening. So again, get ready, folks, for insane karaoke, in-car videos, and IG videos and photos. Again, you got karaoke videos, folks. What am I missing here? Hilarious dance moves, bloopers, insane stuff, food, drinks, a lot of other things included. And, of course, Star Plaza entryway, in-game footage. So again, folks, all that stuff is a part of the brand new original documentary series that is called Press Pass Sparks. If you know about what I have up my sleeve for the show, which again is Lust for Life in the Trumpet Dance. Do you have any dance moves you're thinking of right now for May 25th at all?
Nothing yet.
No, might want to get working on it, man. We know we both have a trumpet dance, man. And I know that I got Lust for Life, but we're gonna have to think of something for you, I think, after the show ends here.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that, folks. But again, all the gimmicks we're talking about, all the laughter about Press Pass Sparks, it will be happening, folks. We don't know really about May 18th, though, folks. It might be one of my photo slideshows I do normally on Press Pass. But we'll try to shoot, folks, a few videos for you, folks, and that will be compacted into iMovie and shipped out to the Sparks 365 network. Chris, we're in our last minute here on the program. We know about what we're going to be what we're doing on May 25th, at least, Chris. But again, let's recap again, man. The Fab Form, Buzzer Beater LA, the W, and Press Pass Sparks, man. Thoughts about the network expansion, man, going from 3 shows to a whopping 7 shows coming very soon?
Just so freaking awesome. Expanding the network from 3 shows to 7 shows. It's awesome. So we get more viewers to watch the show, and we can talk about the WNBA and all around, and the Sparks and everything.
So again, folks, 7 shows will be on our channel lineup. We're working on at least getting all 7 done, at least put into our block. But again, folks, we're kind of going through a long, lengthy spreadsheet here of the entire game schedule in this pamphlet. But again, folks, we're working on right now, folks. We're just penciling in right now, folks, all of the times right now because all that's going to change. But folks, as you probably heard that buzzer, we are out of time here, folks, with the network tonight. So we want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight on Twitter, as well, and also taking part in our live Q&A. And again, folks, we'll recap our schedule. But again, the Fab Form, Buzzer Beater LA, the W debut on May 16th, and of course the gimmicks of Press Pass Sparks, the brand new original documentary series, will debut on May 18th, and of course, get ready, folks, for May 25th, when all the gimmicks occur between me, Chris, and 2 other people. Everything, folks, New Lust for Life, the trumpet dance, everything, folks, that you would want to see from us will be occurring, folks. So get ready for Press Pass Sparks, May 18th, and with Chris and myself, May 25th, June 8th, and a few other dates as well on Press Pass Spark. But again, folks, don't forget as well about the Fab Form, Buzzer Beater LA, and the W. So, Chris, thanks a lot for the help. We know that we couldn't get the Sparks in because we went along with our hang-up, but also, man, we know about the phone issue right now up there. So get that phone charged, get it fixed so we can have Sparks Time tomorrow night. And we will talk to you and Miss Mamba after the show ends. And thanks for coming on, man, like normal. We'll talk to you again sometime soon.
Well, thanks for having me. And, well, my phone's on, and I'm still mind-blown about this.
And it's kind of a shame that the Hollywood sign got cut off, but we'll work on that later on. But, folks, thank you all for joining us here, folks, on your 24/7, 365 comprehensive home for the WNBA and your LA Sparks. This has been the LA Sparks 365 Network here, folks. We'll see you tomorrow night, and see you mañana.